Adam Channel is a 24-year-old Major League Rugby champion for the LA Giltinis. He was signed to compete and represent the USA rugby team and suffered an unfortunate ankle injury in the last game of the tournament against Germany. Going from a UPS driver to a Major League champion, Adam is an inspiration and living proof that through hard work and dedication, you can achieve anything. So I'm here with Adam Channel, like the remote, rugby player, professional rugby player.
Yes, sir.
What team do you play for?
Play for the LA Giltinis.
Sweet.
Yeah. Interesting name.
I mean, rugby doesn't get enough eyeballs on it, in my opinion, because I'm sure there's a lot of people that don't even know we have a professional team right here in LA.
No, a lot of people don't. Fun fact, so actually this was our first inaugural season for LA. So the team's only been around in LA for a year. And we had an average crowd, capacity of like 6,000 to 7,000 people, which is huge. And it's like, which is a big deal, which is like super good for us. And then we made it all the way to the final, as you saw, and hosted the final because we were the number one seed. And during the final, we had like 8,000, 9,000 people. I'm sure a lot of, I don't know if you heard either, but we had Steve Aoki perform at our final, like post game.
Oh shit!
I'm sure that drew a lot of like crowds in as well. But yeah.
And this was in LA or Canada?
Yeah, I was at the Coliseum.
Oh, at the Coliseum.
Coliseum in LA. Yeah.
Fucking crazy, dude.
Yeah.
So you also have a boot on. What happened? Walk us through it.
Yeah. So these past couple weeks, I was in Canada playing with the USA Sevens team, representing the country, and we played 2 tournaments, one in Vancouver and one in Edmonton. The second tournament in Edmonton on the last day, it was our last game. We were playing Germany, and it was about 2.5 minutes in, and I just got tackled, landed on my ankle wrong, and it just folded to the floor. And got an MRI, and it looks like I tore most of the ligaments in my ankle.
Fuck.
Yeah, so I'll find out on Monday if I need surgery or not.
So it rolled towards your...
No, other way. Out.
Oh, it rolled out. Is it the inside ligaments that are torn?
It's the outside ligament. So like my foot's this, it rolled out like that.
Okay, yeah. So towards the ball.
Yes,
towards
exactly,
the outside.
Exactly, yeah.
So is that classified as like a dislocation with ligament tear, or did the bone actually break?
No, the bone didn't break. So it was a high ankle sprain.
Got it.
Ligament damage.
Fuck.
Yeah, it sucks, man.
You say you find out when?
Monday.
On
Monday, yeah. Get my MRI results back.
Shit, dude.
Yeah. But I mean,
well, it goes with the nature of the game, right?
Yeah,
people
definitely.
think of rugby and it's almost a step above NFL. It's like those savages don't even have pads that they wear.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, football, was derived from rugby. So
trippy.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So
I love it.
How did you get into rugby? Why not baseball? Why not football? I mean, you've always been physically gifted, I'm sure, and you played high school sports. So,
okay. I mean,
what was it?
I mean, my mom's family is from New Zealand, and so kind of always heard about it when I was younger. And then I just remember one of my good friends, he was like, "Hey man, like, have you heard of rugby?" I was like, "Yeah, like I heard of it. Don't really know much about it, but yeah, I've heard of it." He's like, "All right, well, hey, I found a club in Long Beach. It's called Belmont Shore, and why don't you come out and give it a try with me?" I was like, "Yeah, why not, man? What's the worst that's gonna happen,
And when was this? What year?
This was
You could even strap your age to it.
almost 12 years ago.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how old
I
were
was
you then?
14 years ago. Yeah, I was 10 years old.
10 years old.
Yeah,
okay.
wow. Been playing a lot longer than I thought.
Holy shit.
Yeah. And so we went out there, played for a season, loved it, absolutely loved it. My buddy who brought me out was like, "Oh man, I can't do this. Like, this isn't for me." So he switched to golf, and he's been playing golf ever since. And then, I just stuck with it and fell in love with it, man. And it's given me some of the best experiences of my entire life.
Holy shit. Okay, so you're 10 years old. When did it become like, this is something that I actually want to do? Did you like recognize you were good at it? I'm sure you had coaches being like, you got talent, stick with it.
Yeah.
Was there a step with like a league where you actually start like competing? What age was that?
So nothing really gets too serious till about high school. And then in high school, they have this thing called High School All-Americans, which is like similar to football, like All-American football players. And basically what happens is they have two teams, a JV and a varsity team. JV is derived of freshman and sophomore rugby players throughout the U.S., and then varsity is junior and senior rugby players throughout the U.S. And so I just got involved in that and started going on tours and went to tours all over, like Portugal, France, we would play the national teams from each country.
And what was the name of the team at that time? You said national
High School All-Americans.
High School All-Americans.
Yeah. So instead of All-Americans being like an honors in football like it is, but you don't actually do, like there's an All-American game, they just play each other.
Mm-hmm.
This is like you go overseas and you play other national teams from other countries.
That's dope.
Yeah. So that was kind of when I started to notice like, hey, like this might be something that I'm interested long term. But I had people talking in the back of my ear telling me, oh no, you need to go to college, you need to get a job, you need to make sure that you got something that's going to secure you long term. And I was like, all right, well, at this point, rugby obviously wasn't as big in the US, so didn't have a lot of like security in it, as like long term if I want to have a family and stuff like that. And then graduated high school, went to Long Beach City College for almost a year, and just school was not my thing. And I just was like, all right, well, I'm just going to start working and keep playing rugby. So I got a job with UPS, and I was a UPS driver for a couple years, and I'm just playing rugby the entire time. And then maybe 3 years ago, I got picked up to play for an academy team in San Diego, the San Diego professional team called San Diego Legion. And so I was involved in that, and that was kind of the spark. I knew, like, hey, I got some potential, give it a go. And then LA scouted me, and as soon as LA scouted me, this was 9 months ago. This like all this stuff that's happened recently throughout with my career has happened within the past year for sure. So it's kind of been extremely mind-blowing experience.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Okay, so I want to go back to high school real quick because I had a question. Does that apply to your high school credits for physical activity, or is it just something extracurricular where you're just doing it on your own?
So back when I was in high school, no, it didn't. Now it does. Now most of the high schools in Long Beach have rugby as a PE sport, like a PE alternative.
Got it. So your motivation at that time is just pure love for the sport itself.
Exactly.
And just that competitive nature.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
Okay. And then you end up getting down to San Diego. And at that point, is there financial incentive? And now you're more of an adult. And you're freaking working.
I got looked at to play for this team in San Diego, this academy team, and I couldn't do it. It just wasn't feasible for me to go down there. And so I passed on it. And then shortly thereafter, almost immediately thereafter, I got picked up for this LA team. And since it was local, I could do it because I didn't have the availability to go down and play in San Diego because I was working a job for UPS. And so when this LA idea came apart, I took the opportunity and just started training with them because it was local. I could just drive to it on, and we just trained a couple days a week.
No, really. So is the scouting similar to other sports? It was literally people.
Yeah,
for the LA team, where were they watching you? Just previous competition.
So there's all these amateur and semi-professional leagues throughout the U.S. Different divisions, and obviously they would pay more attention to the higher division rugby teams. And so I was playing for one of the better teams in the country called Belmont Shore. It's a club team in Long Beach, and they just started scouting me through there, and I actually knew one of the guys who was a recruiter for LA, and so he was the one who asked me to come out and play for the academy team, and that was basically it. So I had
all within the last year.
I'm not even joking. It's in the past 9 months, all this has happened.
So now that you're doing it at the highest level, I'm assuming that fitness and your training has always kind of been on point, even with the UPS job and whatnot. Even though you're amateur, let's say if you're gonna get scouted, they're gonna be looking at people who are taking it seriously.
Yeah.
So can you speak to what like what you put into it and all these years like leading up to it, or are you just that gifted to where you're like, you know, honestly, I've been putting in like B effort, and now that I'm pro, of course, I'm gonna give it everything you have. But
oh man,
what's that been like?
No, definitely. Fitness has definitely always been something I've taken pretty seriously just throughout my life. And I fell off a little bit. Like I fell off into like a little rut before I got these opportunities, and I was just kind of messing around. Like
this is when we were like partying, right?
Yeah.
Before COVID.
Yeah, exactly.
We've been to like a couple fun events.
We were just partying.
Yeah,
and like I was like enjoying life because I was like, oh, nothing's going on really right now, so why not? And then COVID hit, and I was like, all right, well, I really don't want to do anything now. And then maybe like a month into COVID or something like that, this coach reached out from LA, and like I was still, you know, like working out every once in a while, just going to the gym. And he reached out and he's like, hey man, like, how you doing? Blah, blah, like we're interested. Would you able to come out and do a fitness session? I was like, yeah, sure. Come out. Came out, did the first fitness session, and I was like, threw up. It was bad, dude. So at that point I was like, okay, like that's it. This is what I want to do. Cause I knew it all. It was always in the back of my head. I was like, okay, might be something I want to do with like my entire life. But then started to fade away slowly because I got involved with UPS. And then on top of that, like COVID was hitting. So no rugby was going on. I was like, all right. So then that spark kind of like ignited again. And
so this training session real quick, is he bringing you in to see what you're made of basically? Like,
exactly.
Is there a threshold?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
So it's like, come in, show what you're made of, and then we'll offer you to play for the academy team.
And open your eyes because you're like, fuck, I'm not in the condition that I need to be if I want to choose to play rugby.
And this is like my opportunity to make it. So then at that point I was like, all right, I'm done. Like I stopped like vaping and like cut back on drinking and stuff like that and partying, and like really, really got into it. And ever since then, my like fitness levels have been progressing and still like to this day, like when I was playing in Canada, which is like supposed to be the fittest I've ever been in my entire life, I was still increasing my fitness levels as that was going on.
You're 20. How old are you?
24.
24.
Yeah.
So you're still young. I mean, your prime isn't for, I know there's a variable there, but some say like 30. It depends on what sport you're competing in.
Exactly.
But so you're taking, what was that like? So you were kind of, your eyes open, you're like, I need to take fitness more seriously. This could be an opportunity. You quit vaping, quit drinking so much. How much time after that initial session did you get like picked up, or did you go back and get retested? Okay,
so basically after that, I didn't do horribly. He was like, okay, man, like, hey, we want you to start coming out and training with us. And so I started training. And at that point, it was like COVID was still pretty dense. So we were just doing like Saturday training sessions, and we'd like meet up. We do a whole training, and then we do like these fitness testing at the end. And I was doing pretty decent at the fitness testing. And that went on for a while. And then the season for them started on in February of this past year, or of this year. Sorry.
Yeah.
And so they started playing a couple games, and our academy games started, I think, end of February. And we did pretty well. Like I played in 4 academy games total, against other academy teams throughout the U.S. And I'm doing pretty good. Like did pretty well for myself. The team did pretty good. We went 4-0. We did really well. And then I'll never forget this. We were at training, and we trained with the top side, like right next to them. And I got asked to come over and train with the top side on a Tuesday. So we trained Monday, Tuesday, break Wednesday, train Thursday, and then captain's run Friday, and then game Saturday. And I got asked to come over and train on Tuesday. And he's like, hey, like just hop in. Like it's the same position I was playing on the academy team.
Which is?
Wing. Yeah, which is
we'll get to that. I want you to break down some technical aspects.
I'll break it down. But he's like, hey, why don't you hop in and have a go? And I was like, it's all the same play. So I was like, yeah, I knew what I was doing. I was like, okay. So then training goes well. We get a break Wednesday. Thursday morning, we show up to our training center, and he's like, hey, calls me into the office. He's like, hey, man, so looks like we got an injury from our top side, so you're going to be starting this weekend. So I need you to go in and talk to the manager, and he's going to get you signed up, signed, and you got to fill out your contract forms and stuff like that. I was like, oh, shit.
It's happening.
All right, well, snap of fingers. Here we go. So then we drove down and we played San Diego, the team that I was supposed to go play for, the academy team that weekend. That was my first game. And went really well. We won, and big rivalry game, and it was awesome.
So when you're saying top side, what's that again?
Like first side, like the
First
professional team.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's like the division or whatever.
Exactly, yeah.
So you went down, smashed the team that you couldn't play for.
Yeah.
What was that like? Your first game, like stepping out on the field. Were there fans at that point?
Yeah.
So fans
So
are
many
there.
fans, yeah.
Were you like extra nervous or just
I was a bit nervous.
stoked?
I was like, it was a pretty good combination of nerves and excitement and all that stuff. I mean, I'm pretty good at like controlling my nerves and not allowing my nerves to like affect how I play.
Mhm.
But it was unreal. So they play at the stadium, Torero Stadium, which is USD's stadium. And it gets really loud, like super loud in there, because it's like pretty compacted, and the stadium just kind of goes up. It doesn't go like out and then up. It just goes straight up and
Straight
pretty
echoing, keeping it all inside.
So it was super loud, packed house, because when we play San Diego, it's called the California Cup. The only 2 teams from California so far, so it's kind of a big deal. And it was nuts, man.
Dude, Grant, let's pull up his Instagram. I want people to see some of his photos running. Crap, dude. So
Yeah.
you're in that stadium and you guys win. And were you on the team at that point? Like, so you were
Yeah.
starting consistently?
Yeah.
And you guys are playing every Saturday, is
Every
it?
Saturday, yeah.
Damn.
that-
and
that-
that
that game-
opportunity spurred from an injury, right?
Yeah,
So
one of the guys who was starting on the top side, arguably one of the best guys in my position in the world, and he got injured, like he hurt his knee, and so they asked me to come and play on the top side. And so from Thursday till Saturday when the game started, I had to sign my contract to play professionally, get like completely different kit and training programs and all that stuff to play with the top side, and then I just continued playing with them.
Did you have to call UPS and like
Yeah.
like that same day?
Yeah.
You're like, sorry,
So-
you don't have 2 weeks. It's literally I play on Saturdays.
Yeah,
So.
so I didn't quit. I just took like a leave of absence.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I had to call my boss right afterwards and was like, "Hey man, like I'm not gonna be able to come to work tomorrow, dude."
And they knew you were a rugby player.
Yeah,
at this point?
they knew the situation and all that stuff. And luckily my boss is like, he used to play for my club team that I grew up playing
No
for. So
shit.
it kind of like made it a little bit easier, but at the same time he was like, "Oh."
Is that a
Shit.
thing or just luck? Are there a lot of rugby players that are also whipping the big brown? Just like,
Just UVS? No,
Yeah.
I don't think so. I mean, I haven't met anybody else yet, not yet, no.
dang.
Yeah.
All right, let's see this. Okay, so click on that middle top one. I've always tripped out on what you call it a footy, right? It's the ball is a
Footy is just like another term we use for playing rugby.
Okay, we're gonna go
Yeah.
play the footy.
Yeah, so that
Dude,
was
it's
that was my
gnarly.
first appearance for the U.S. team. That was in Vancouver a couple weeks ago.
Who's that fellow? That guy's fucking jacked.
That guy on the far left?
Yeah.
So that's Martin Yosefo. He actually, I've looked up to that guy for so long. We play the same position. And I've just tried to mimic his playing style. He's unbelievable. He's one of the most capped. And when I say capped, I mean like he has the most appearances
Yeah.
for a USA Sevens team.
So
dude's unreal.
myself, like most people, know little, if not nothing, about rugby.
Yeah.
So Grant, if you could pull up like a formation, rugby formation, I'm sure they'll have some sort of diagram that we can break down. Because if you're listening to this, sorry, we'll do our best to explain it verbally, but I recommend going to YouTube so you can see what we're gonna pull up. Which one would you recommend?
Go to let's see. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah, that's cool.
So how big's the field to start? Is it like a normal football
Yeah.
field, or you guys?
No, it's not a normal football
No?
field. It's bigger than a football field.
Oh,
So
it's bigger.
It's 100 meters long, and honestly, I don't really know how wide it is. It's like
So you have the
70 meters wide.
the bottom one, which is like a V formation. Is that offense?
No, so those are just positions. So in rugby, you're playing offense and defense throughout the entire game.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's not
What a
it's not,
trip.
it's not like football where like you have guys who play set offense and then it's like they switch and then like the set defensive guys come on for them and like the set offense guys come on.
That makes sense.
So how it works in rugby is like it's consistent, just continuous play the entire time. So
it's dynamic, right?
It's
Because you
dynamic.
see the, like, oftentimes you could talk about the positioning of like where the ball lands, but you're shifting back and forth trying to push towards that finish line.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah.
not.
So it's the same concept. Like you're going to try to score. It's called a try when you score, not a touchdown.
A try.
Yeah, but it's the same concept. Like you're trying to get into the opponent's end zone area. It's called a try. And when you score, you have to put the ball down with pressure down on top of the ball. And wherever you score, that's where they walk out from and kick from there.
Got it. So
Yeah.
you can't just pass a plane like football. You have to actually
you
have
to
downward
put downward pressure onto the ball.
Is that hard to judge at times?
Yeah,
If it's,
it is.
Because
It
that's
is
a little.
for sure. I mean,
like,
once you get
how much
to
pressure.
like the top levels, they have cameras every single angle, so they can like see with certainty that you put downward pressure onto the ball.
So it can't be like the ground causes the ball to knock. Like you have to actually. So if you are falling over the line, and let's say your arm goes like slams down on the ball, that's good.
That's a try. Yeah.
Fuck yeah, it's a try. That's sick. So
Cool.
a lot of people when they think of rugby, they think of what's the huddle like formation?
The scrum.
Right? The scrum.
Yeah.
Dude, the scrum. That's crazy.
It's awesome.
What a term. But you're locked in shoulder to shoulder.
Yeah.
Who's in the scrum? What are those positions?
So I'll show you right here. So if you go to that picture on the right, if you see number 1 up there on the top left.
Zoom in on that, Puppy Grant. Thanks.
Okay, so there's number 1. You got a prop, and then number 3 is another prop. Those are usually the heaviest guys, or just like the biggest guys on the field usually. So and then they got the hooker in the middle. When the ball gets put into the scrum by the number 9, the scrum half, the hooker is the guy who kicks the ball back onto your side. And then you have the locks, who are usually the 2 tallest guys, the guys who get lifted in the lineouts.
Yeah.
And then the flankers, they're usually pretty decently big as well, pretty elusive, make a lot of tackles, get around the field. And then
So like in size, let's compare it to American footy. So like right flanker.
Okay, so
that would be
let's
like
just, if you look at the
tight end
front row,
size?
so the front row is 1, 2, and 3. Those would be like your linemen.
Okay.
Yeah, and then or like your guards or tackles, whatever the inside position.
Yeah, inside's guards, which are usually like big but a little shorter, a little smaller than a tackle.
That's perfect.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you got your locks, who are still really big and like but tall, like super tall. And so I guess those could be your
like tackles.
Tackles, yeah, exactly. And then you got your flankers. Your flankers,
you said they're a little bit more agile.
they're usually pretty agile, but big as
well.
well.
So like a tight end.
Yeah, exactly, like a tight end. Yeah, definitely. And you got your same with number 8 as well. And then you got your scrum half. Your scrum half is usually, what would he be? I don't know. Maybe like.
We could just stick to it. Just like that general comparison, just the size difference.
Yeah, so then you got like your fly half is like your quarterback. He's usually the playmaker on the field, calling all the plays, telling people where to go, stuff like that.
You said the fly?
The fly half, number 10.
Fly half.
And then inside center and outside center, 12 and 13. Those guys are usually, they can be big, they can be like, fit, whatever, it doesn't matter, but they're usually pretty fast, pretty physical. Those are like slot receivers, even like tight end position type as well.
And this diagram we're looking at is only one team. Is what you're saying,
exactly.
Right? Okay.
So there's 2 teams of 15 playing each other in a rugby
teams of
game.
15.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a lot of men on the field. So that makes sense why it would have to be bigger.
Exactly.
That's more personnel.
And then lastly, the 2 wings, 11 and 14, and the fullback. Those would be like your safety or your cornerbacks or your wide receivers. Those type of guys, like the fast guys.
Interesting. So that's opposite to where the inside center, like center is a term in football, and that's the big guy in the middle spiking it and then, or hiking it rather. And then we got fullback. He's in the backfield. He's usually a bigger fella. But these are the more elusive, agile ones. And point to yourself real quick. Which one were you again?
I usually play 11, 15, or 14.
11, 15, 14. Dude, and you're still, how big are you?
Like 210.
210 at 6'2"?
210.
Like
Yeah,
6'3"?
Yeah.
6'2", 210.
Yeah.
And you're like still this in smaller position.
Yeah, definitely.
That's crazy.
Definitely, yeah.
Dude, so what's the training like? What do you do on a daily basis? Like, do you have a regimen now with the team? Do they have like diet plans for you, or do you have like food provided for you now?
Yeah. So
what's your fitness like?
So I'll just go off the LA team. So the LA team, we get there every day. We get breakfast in the morning. Like they make us breakfast and stuff like that. And we
What's breakfast consist of?
oh dude, the good stuff.
Like
breakfast
whatever you want?
burritos. Yeah. Like they'll give us options. Like usually there's like breakfast burritos or like I don't know, eggs, pancakes.
Okay. Because I'm sure they're trying to pump calories. You guys burn so many. But have they gotten to a point yet where it's like, you think of the UFC, a lot of their nutritionists are like, we're going to not only feed you a lot, but we're going to take science into account and try to prime our athletes through nutrition.
No, definitely. I think it's different, a little bit different. I think with this, it was kind of like relatively healthy food, you know, like for the most part, what you're eating is good for you. Sometimes we'd have like pancakes, like French toast. Well, obviously it's like, all right, well, that's obviously not the best for you, you know.
It's not, but if it's decent ingredients,
exactly.
You're
exactly.
fine.
So we'd get there, we'd have breakfast, and then we'd have meetings. And then
what's a meeting consist of?
So it's like, so we'd start off with players meeting. So the players meeting would be for 15 minutes. That's where like the captain is talking, and then anybody else talks about stuff, and we like mess around with each other a little bit, call each other out on stupid stuff we did over the weekend or
any watching film.
Nah, so that'll come in the team meeting, which is like a right after. So when the team meeting happens, all the coaches and staff comes in, and we talk about game film for the week before, talk about practice schedules, maybe talk about film from practice that we can improve on. And then we have like our manager come in and tell us like what we got going on this week, if we have to make appearances at, you know, youth clubs and help out with the youth, or maybe do some beach cleanups. We do that a lot too. And then after that we go straight into the gym. We'll do a gym session for like an hour and then go to the field and get a field session done for like 2.5 hours.
Damn. And that's every day during the week?
Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and then Friday it's a little bit shorter. Yeah, like a lighter day, and then play on Saturdays. Get Sundays
so 3 days a week you said it was an hour and then 2.5 hours. So 3.5 hours times 3.
Yeah.
So when you're in the gym portion, is that mostly weight training? And then you're going to go do like your cardio, actual.
Yeah. We don't really do cardio in the gym. Yeah.
No, because you're getting plenty on the field.
Exactly. Yeah. So most of it's like, you ever heard of F45?
Yeah.
The gyms?
Yeah. The like circuit training.
Exactly.
Kind of
it's basically the same thing as that. So the guy who owns F45 worldwide owns our team.
Okay.
Yeah. So our headquarters is like a gutted out F45 gym that he like turned into like this massive complex with like offices and locker rooms and a gym and like a lounge area and a basketball court.
That's dope.
It's crazy.
What type of movements do you guys do? So I know like generally what F45 is, but it's like a combination of, you're still hitting weights and working with weights, but it's not so isometric like bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Like you're not just hitting bench press.
So usually we do a lot of like power lift. Like we'll do like a powerlifting move in the beginning. So we'll do like speed bench, or we'll do like heavy back squat, or we'll do like power cleans or something like that. Something to get like strength aspect involved. And then we'll do some accessories. So we'll do a lot of like speed work. So like hopping over bars to get like our spring off the ground reactive. And then I don't know. It's a lot of like cross training.
Okay.
You understand what that means?
Yeah. Like bar work? Do you guys do like pull-ups?
Yeah. We'll do a lot of pull-ups, like a lot of body weight work, a lot of like balance work, too. So like you do like an RDL, and then after you do the RDL, you like shoot up and like knee drive and just like focus on like your core, a lot of core work as well. Just a lot of cross training, like kind of, I wouldn't say similar to CrossFit, but it's definitely closer to CrossFit style training rather than like bodybuilder training, you know?
Got it. So because people can compare it to the football player in high school thinks of the weight room. Yeah. You know, people can picture that. This is different. It's not like a weight room. You're doing more functional movements and stuff like that. Do you, because then you go after that and train for 2.5 hours. I'm sure some of it is drills and it's not all high intensity. Yeah. But I mean, that's 3.5 hours straight. That's a lot.
It is. Do
you ever feel like, fuck, maybe like more rest would be more beneficial, or do they have the science down? Are they recovering their athletes?
It's not too bad. I mean, like usually Monday is pretty chill because it's like right after the weekend. Tuesday is usually a big training day. That's usually when we're doing high intensity the entire time. That's why we get Wednesday off. Wednesday we get to chill, and then Thursday usually another pretty high intensity day.
Because then Friday's
pretty chill, like just captain's run.
And that's just analysis for Saturday's game?
Yeah, so captain's run usually it's like we go to the field. Like if we're playing at our home stadium, the Coliseum in LA, then we'll go to there and the captain of our team will just basically tell us what we're running through for the day. It's like 30 minutes, super chill, super light. And then after that, we all go back and we usually get like massages and stuff like that.
Hell yeah. I want to ask about rest and recovery. So,
yeah.
So you said it was captain. Is there a coach there assisting him too on Friday?
Yeah, he's there, but usually it's like captain ran because obviously on the field during a game, the captain is like kind of telling us what we need to be doing and kind of running the system and stuff like that.
Got it. So that makes sense because in regular football, it's strategic in the sense of like you have offense, a defense, and a play ran every game. Mm-hmm. In rugby, if it's dynamic and there's not so much start-stop, like to insert that play, then that captain on the field has to kind of take ownership.
Exactly.
Like you're running shit live. You know?
You got it.
That makes sense. That's fucking crazy. Mm-hmm. It's different in the sense like football is more like it's like you're planning something like a business or whatever to where it's like this play. Because when you said we're going in Friday to kind of train and captains and run drills for Saturday, people can think back on football. We're like, okay, that's when you're running play after play. Yeah. Like exactly where you're supposed to be to receive a ball. Yeah. It's different. Like
it's different and the same. Okay. So like, you think of it as like we have plays that we run, but instead of like stopping and getting set up for it and having like given a bunch of time to get set, it's like it happens in like 5 seconds and it happens throughout the game. So like it's like we'll be playing the game, you'll look up at the defense and the defense will give you a picture while we're playing and you have to call play, make sure that everybody else around you knows the play, and then run the play to like exact precision in a matter of like 5 seconds.
That's almost more difficult, arguably.
100%. Yeah,
because it's like you're running plays off of constant fumbles. Like, because you see,
exactly,
like in football, when there's a fumble happening, that's when the play's broken up, and you just see people scattering to either grab the ball, run for a quick six. Yeah. Like you're doing that constantly, but within that, like scatter, you're still running plays strategically.
Yeah. So think about this. If I can give an example, you know, like say there's like 1 second left on the clock and the team who's trying to score, who's on offense in football, does that play where they like do a lot of laterals and passes and they try to keep the ball alive.
Yeah.
So picture that, but like throughout the entire game, something like that is happening, but you're trying to like, if you get tackled, the ball's still alive. So like you got to protect the ball from the opponents to make sure they don't steal the ball from when you get tackled. And then you just keep going. You keep going and working down the field and working. You can kick and for like territory and stuff like that. Yeah.
Grant, can you pull up a video of like just a rugby play? Because you brought up like protecting the ball. From what I've seen, they protect it, like they form the barrier. And then what's it when it spits out the back? Like you kind of have to, you like throw it out the back for someone to capture?
It's just a pass. So usually like.
So that's just a pass.
Yeah. So. Just go that England Samoa one, yeah.
Let's watch some of this shit. You fucking savages. Look at that recommended one. Some guy's getting straight ass to the face.
That's hot. Nice. Very nice.
England and Samoa.
Yeah.
Fast forward a little bit, Grant, to a live play. And this is something I want to talk about, too, the culture behind all the chanting and stuff.
Yeah.
That's super cool.
Okay,
so rewind that a little bit, Grant. So right there. See how it, like, rolls in between their ankles? What's happening there?
So the ball's just getting pushed back. So that right there, somebody just got tackled. That's called a ruck. And basically what they're doing by standing over him is just making sure that the opposing team, Samoa, doesn't come over and take the ball from them and go onto offense instead.
Okay, so they're on the goal line.
Yeah.
And then you have to always pass it behind you, right? That's
Exactly.
like the
Yeah.
biggest rule.
Sideways.
What would you? Okay, so if it's a newbie, what are the 3, or even if there's 5, like biggest rules where you have, for example, you have to pass it behind you?
Okay. I would do First one would definitely be the ball has to travel lateral or backwards during like a pass.
Okay.
During a pass for sure. That'd definitely be the top one. The second one would be when you get in the try, push the ball down. Like it has to be downward pressure. And I've played with guys who, like, when I was growing up, they came from football and they just like ran into the try and like were like, yeah, I scored. And then they got tackled or smashed out of bounds because they didn't put the ball down. So when you score in the try, like put the ball down on the ground. And then the last one would be you can't tackle anybody around the neck or anything like that. You know, in football, you can like make head-to-head contact, or like it's a little bit more like controlled now. Obviously, there's the targeting and stuff. But like
now.
Anything like shoulder or above, like you'll get kicked off the field instantly.
No way.
Yeah.
So that's how they would protect against the lack of helmets.
It's gotten significantly more strict nowadays. Like if there's any contact with the arm at all to the head or the neck, like you'll get yellow carded, which basically means you go to, it's called the sin bin.
The sin bin.
Sin bin, yeah.
How did that start?
I couldn't tell you, man, but like it's just where you go. It's not good. You don't want to go there, and you'll sit there for 10 minutes while the game keeps going. And then if you make contact with the shoulder to the head or anything more, or like say you pick them up and drop them on their head, that could be like a straight red card, which means if it's a tournament, you're out the rest of the tournament. But if it's just like regular like exhibition matches or whatever, you're out for the rest of that game and the next game as well. Depending on how severe it is, you could get like a fine or a suspension and be out for longer.
So like that requires you to train on how to like properly tackle in the moment, because you can't, like, if you're trying to make a play, it's with other sports too, you can't think too much about what you're doing. You just have to be trained to do it. It
has to be a habit for sure.
Yeah, so you just strike the torso basically is what you're saying.
Yeah, I would say like the chest and down is a pretty good target most of the time, and like you could still smack somebody pretty hard.
For sure.
Legally, yeah.
Yeah, and then like the person that's running can get whiplash and stuff if you're getting.
Definitely.
Are collarbone breaks common?
Yeah, I mean,
what's the most common?
I would say the most common injury is like, dislocated shoulder, broken collarbone, something like that. But excuse me, I would say it's not as common as people think. Like this, like a rolled ankle and like maybe some torn ligaments. It happens for sure, just like every other sport. But it's like injuries aren't as common as people would think compared to like football or something. And I hate to bash on football because I love football. But like it's just injuries are just a lot more common in sports like that, where players are more reckless with the way that they handle the contact of like each contact, you know what I'm saying? So like with rugby, contact is super technical compared to football, where it's like, I'm just going to fly in and hit the guy as hard as I can.
Because you have this padding.
Yeah, you don't have to wrap. You don't have to like do anything. I'll lead with my head. I can dive at the guy or whatever. With rugby, it's super technical and very controlled. Like you're trying to make a tackle to make him fall in a position for your teammate to get the ball. Or like you're trying to make a tackle to put him to, like, when you tackle him, you want him to fall a certain way so it'll benefit your team. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's very technical, very planned, very controlled.
Interesting. So it's almost like tackling with some elements of wrestling.
Exactly.
It's like once you make that wrap, you're not done yet.
Yeah.
Like it's not just about getting them to the ground. It's like a double leg at that
exactly.
point. But
yeah,
you can't
100%.
slam them on their head.
Exactly. Yeah. Wrestlers make great rugby players, actually.
Okay.
Great, because they got that like
short, stocky,
exactly.
jack.
Yeah. And they always know how to like bring somebody to the ground.
And then,
you can always tell if they have a wrestling background for sure.
And then UFC's Alex Volkanovski used to be a rugby player.
Yeah, he played in the NRL. Yeah.
And he was like huge, right?
He played. I don't know if he played professionally, but
I meant just like his stature. I guess he used to weigh
like 240 or something.
He was like 100 pounds heavier than he is now.
It's crazy.
But now he's such a well-rounded fighter, and you could tell it transitioned. Like his ability, like in fitness and just being an athlete, it totally transferred.
It's also just badass.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's badass.
So you mentioned you guys get massages. I'm always curious about rest and recovery with athletes. So you guys have Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, train hard Thursday, Friday, prepare for Saturday. So it's not too hard.
Yeah.
So what do the teams do for you besides the nutrition?
Yeah,
massages?
we have like 2 full-time trainers usually on hand to work like any deep tissue work that you usually want done during the week. So if you got muscle issues, you know, cramping, tight muscles, you want rubbed out, or I don't know, anything like that. And then usually if you make the game day squad, you get a massage the Friday before the game, or the Thursday if we have to travel on Friday or something like that.
Sick.
Oh, it's so nice.
Literally the whole team.
Yeah.
How many masseuses do they got?
Usually there's like 3 or 4 in rotation, and they get through like 23 guys pretty quickly within like 4 hours, 5 hours.
So how long is a massage?
Usually like 30 minutes.
30 minutes.
Yeah, nothing crazy, but like you'll tell them like, hey, like my hamstrings are sore, or like something like that, and they'll focus on that. Yeah.
Dang. So what's it been like, the camaraderie with your teammates? Just, I mean, competing at anything at the highest level, whether it's UFC and mixed martial arts, whether it's football and you're on the Patriots, whether it's rugby. Like, there's something different. Like, people get elements of it in high school and that team camaraderie, but now I've never experienced it, so I'm so curious. Like, you're grown men.
Yeah.
Still, like, doing what you love, and you're in the locker room.
Yeah.
Like, is it just a family or what?
It's hard to explain, because I'd really wish that like everybody could experience the type of camaraderie and brothership and like sense of like love for like we have for each other. You're literally going onto the field every Saturday, and technically Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday too, like willing to lay your body on the line for these guys, for these other people you're playing with, and for your coaches and everybody. Like, there's a lot of motivational things that go into it. But like, I think that one of the things that really contributes to a team being close together is just kind of like having fun. Like, obviously when you're focusing on the game and practice and all that stuff, you know, you want to take it serious, but like outside of that, like, we'll all just fuck around with each other all the time. Like, we have a social chair guy, like a justice chair. Basically, it's like, if you remember, I was talking to you about there's like players meetings and then team meetings. So in the players meetings, there's a social, like a justice guy. And basically he goes, okay, guys, like, hope everybody had a good weekend. Are there any fines for this weekend? And like, people, you can call out people, so I could be like, hey, like, you know, this guy, he, after the game, like, he started drinking before everybody else, blah, blah. He ended up like a mess at night or whatever, and like just totally call him out and be like, all right, yeah, that's a valid fine, and he'll get fined for it. And then and then so this is just like all like part of the fun, and all that kind of brings everybody closer together. And then they'll have like a whiteboard with like 6 fines on it, and you roll a dice, and whatever number you land on, you have to do that for the entire rest of the week until the next players meeting on Monday, the following Monday. So like an example would be like, okay, so say you land on 1, and every time the coach texts in the group chat, okay, guys, looking forward to a big day today, blah, 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 you just respond with, yeah, whatever, every single time, just to kind of nag at him. And he has no idea that he's doing this to like, because he has to.
Because there's a team meeting too, he wasn't there.
Yeah, exactly. So just little stuff like that. Okay,
so it's a little fun. It's like a fun internal thing that you guys have. This isn't like regulated by
the coaches.
Rugby at large.
Yeah, no.
Oh, okay. So it's just for fun. Yeah. But you said the term, his name is he's a social justice guy.
Yeah, like a social chair.
Social chair.
Like, he runs that social aspect of all
Got
of
it.
Yeah.
And is that something that's common amongst different rugby teams, or is it just with LA?
I think with LA it was super big. Like, all the guys bought in and like took it super serious and like had so much fun with it. I think that's what brought us so close together. And obviously,
that's fucking funny,
like,
dude.
You saw it on the field. Like, we played super well with each other. Everybody just kind of clicked. And I think that's something that a lot of teams neglect, is becoming closer as not only teammates, but as like friends off the field, because it makes you more comfortable with playing with each other on the field.
That makes sense.
So I think a lot of
Do you
people.
ever have people in like the midst of partying when you guys are all together, like, oh fuck, I gotta slow down. Like, I don't want to get fined. Like, people start regulating their behavior a little bit.
Nah, but if you do something dumb, like you'll for sure get called out.
Oh, okay. Because
Yeah.
at first, when you're like, someone's gonna get fined, I'm like, oh fuck, if you drink too much,
No. I mean, dude,
team rats on you.
No,
and then,
rugby players, we drink a lot. But like, if you do something dumb, like if you jump off the bar and land on a table, like some Bills Mafia stuff, like we'll call you out for that for sure.
yeah,
Or like,
bogus.
just like other provocative stuff. Like, I don't know. If a dude, yeah, I don't know if I could say that on podcast.
You're fine, dude. So where's rugby from initially? What?
I
Because
think
you
it was
mentioned
created-
like drinking and the culture. I'm like, wait, where did it actually start? It's
I think it started in England.
England.
Yeah.
Do you know
Yeah.
when?
I
Look it
don't.
up, Grant.
Yeah,
Let's check
I
it
really
out.
actually don't.
You don't
That's a good
even know,
question.
huh?
Nah.
Interesting. But because when I think of rugby, I always think of like Australia and New Zealand too. Like a lot of Samoan players and whatnot.
It's definitely huge in the Pacific Islander community. Definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, 100%. It's
So in 1823, rugby football was created by William Webb Ellis, who picked up the ball and ran with it in his arms during a football game at rugby school in England. Okay, well, Graham, maybe you could do some more digging. So it was a football game.
like football, I think like soccer.
Soccer, he picked it up at rugby school and then just ran with it.
Yeah. So
They're
fun
like, oh,
fact,
that's dope.
So
Maybe that's why the ball looks like a mix between an American football and a
and
soccer ball. It's like
yeah,
kind of
definitely.
fat.
So it's actually, there's a fun fact. So the Rugby World Cup, right? The Rugby World Cup that happens, every 4 years, just like the Soccer World Cup or stuff like that. The trophy for that is called the Webb Ellis Cup.
The Webb Ellis.
Yeah,
Cup.
named
Okay.
after the first guy ever. Yeah.
Rugby school is a public school in Rugby, Warwickshire, England. Founded in 1567 as a free grammar school for local boys. That's crazy, though.
Nice.
So do you know how it got picked up in the Pacific Islander community?
Well, most of those countries down there were colonized by the
England and stuff, yeah.
British colonies and all that stuff. So I think it just got put into those schools down there, and then it got picked up by the locals and the natives, and just became like a big deal. And it's loved. Like, if you ever go down to any of those Pacific Island nations, like you'll see kids running around in the front yard, like throwing a rugby ball around and all that stuff. It's like I've a bunch of my friends who I play rugby with are from like Fiji, Samoa, Tonga, New Zealand, and they're just like, yeah, like it's, especially in Fiji. Fiji has gotten so popular in the past decade or so because their national team is like really good. Like they won the Olympics, the past 2 Olympics, and it is massive. Like
Dang.
they
Pull up
just-
Fiji's
Fiji
professional team.
Fiji Sevens rugby.
So I wonder if it's like in some of those less developed countries,
Yeah.
like in what we think of typical America, it's like you play soccer, of like football,
Yeah.
just because you don't need many things. It's you need the ball yourself and you go kick it around. With rugby, in the sense, it's as long as you have, it doesn't even have to be an actual rugby ball.
Yeah.
You pick it up and you just need open land and a field to go.
Exactly. Yeah. 100%.
Let's see. Is there a photo of their team? Just go back and go to images. I want to see how stacked these. What would you call a person from Fiji? A
Fijian.
Fijian?
Yeah.
So they've won the past.
They won the last 2 Olympics. Yeah. They're crazy. They got some small guys who are like super shifty, and then they got those. Okay. So the guy with the red mouth guard in the back right there.
Yeah, he's huge.
He's probably like 6'5", 6'6", maybe. Not super massive, but just super lengthy, super athletic. All these guys are just freak athletes.
And what position is this smaller guy, would you say?
Like a wing or that number 9, the scrum half.
Yeah, he's a little feller.
Yeah, but they're crazy. They're unbelievable. They're so cool to watch play too. Like if you ever get the chance to go and watch them play, I definitely would suggest it. They're just fun. Like the crowd is super. All the Fijian fans are like some of the coolest fans you'll ever see and be involved with. They're just so fun and interactive.
That's amazing. So speaking of size of people, in when you get to a certain level, how much would you say is dependent on like the size of your athletes? Of course, combined with the athleticism, you're discussing that you can't have like lard asses who are out of shape, even though they're big, compete in rugby. How much is size and how much is strategy? I'm sure it works in like dynamic tension with one another, but have you recognized that there's certain teams that just don't have the size to compete with?
Yeah, so there's a lot of teams, pretty like most countries have some like a lot of decent sized guys to them. You know, just they just got like it's just like a requirement to be basically pretty fit, you know, pretty built, whatever. You know, they're not gonna pick up some dude who's like 160 pounds, skinny to come play for the national team. You know what I'm saying? But
so
like,
what you're saying is all the teams around the world
have
they're
like
all
decently,
pretty big.
Yeah, pretty built guys. Yeah, 100%.
Okay.
But there's definitely some teams like I notice New Zealand, the All Blacks, their backline. So like
that's the name of a team. People don't get triggered.
Yeah,
they're All Blacks.
Yeah, New Zealand All Blacks. It's an actual team. It's an actual team. But they from like 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, the backs, like they're not super big, crazy big guys. Like most of them are like my size or smaller. So they're just super fast, very, very technical, very athletic, and know exactly what to do in every situation. And that's why they're the best team in the world in my.
Dang. Do you guys have a Columbine where you like measure the performance of athletes?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Columbine.
Wrong one.
Not Columbine. Combine.
Yeah, I mean, we do have like rugby combines. It's not as common as like football, but you know, we have like camps where like a lot of kids will come in and we'll test basic stuff like how fast you can run a 40-meter in and you know stuff like that. But nothing crazy.
Did you get your time?
I haven't read it in so long. Jeez, that's a tough question.
It's like high school, but
no, we don't really judge that stuff. We just more do like track your weightlifting and like what you do like that. But nothing crazy. Like they're not like, oh well, if you don't lift this weight, well then we're not going to take you on the team. Like they just want you to be relatively strong.
I see. How competitive is it to get into rugby at the highest level?
It's tough.
It's tough?
Yeah, it's super tough. It's just tough in the sense of like the people who are involved in rugby who want to make it to the highest level. It's increasingly growing, you know, and just like in football or basketball, like the coaches are just very picky on like, if you play a certain position, you have to like be a certain way or make yourself stand out to them to get picked up. So like if you could be like a utility back, which basically means like you can play multiple positions, that makes yourself more valuable, because then you're not only telling the coach, hey, I'm really good at this position, and you've seen that, but I'm also really good at other positions as well. So just like making yourself either the best you could possibly be at one or really good at multiple positions.
So if you're able to be diverse on the team, you're more likely to get picked up?
Yeah. Definitely.
Okay.
At least in like the backs, like the fast guys in the back line. And the forwards, you kind of just want to be like stick to your position and get really, really good at it. Yeah. It's not as common for like a prop to go and play like a lock or a lock to go and play in the props or something like that.
I see.
Yeah.
So where have you traveled since becoming like a pro athlete now? Many different, not even on your current team, but just you mentioned a couple countries that you had been to before.
Yeah. So like growing up in high school playing for the All-American team, I went to Portugal, France, England, and Canada. That's about it, really.
Canada was recent, right?
Yeah, I went in high school too. But
okay.
Since I started playing professionally, I've only been on one tour, and it was to Canada. Yeah, and that was super fun. Vancouver and Edmonton. And then there's a tournament in the end of November in Dubai, a 2-week tournament, and that was the one I was looking forward to, but unfortunately got hurt. So, it sucks, man.
Are you still going to fly out with the team, or if you're injured, I
probably won't go because I'm injured. But in January, it starts a new season for that, so then we'll travel. And then on that season for them, for the USA team, traveled to New Zealand, Australia, Dubai, Cape Town, South Africa, England, France, Spain, Canada, the U.S., like gnarly. Multiple stops throughout the world.
So once you recover, are you still contracted? Like you're still going to be good to go back to the team?
100%. Yeah, definitely.
In your position, even that last guy was injured, therefore you stepped in. Like you're on the team though. It's not like
yes, I am contracted in. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's good.
Yeah, it is good.
Because God, there's some laws with like different sports and whatnot where there are regulations. Like if you get injured, you like stop getting paid, and then your position's screwed, and sometimes you're not going to get it back, and that's just really shitty. But so you were traveling when you were younger, and you've only been to Canada as of late as more of an adult.
So since my professional career started, like I told you, like I've only been playing professional for like.
What's the craziest thing that's happened since you've been on the road? Yeah.
On the road?
Yeah, just like with the team. Has anything fucking like wild happened? Nothing that's gonna get anyone into trouble. Like
I can tell you something funny.
If there's anyone like,
I mean, I'm not gonna say names, but I'll definitely tell you stories. Okay, so there was oh man, all right, so. I can't believe I'm about to say this. Whatever. So after we won the championship with the LA team, the whole team went to Vegas for 4 days.
4 days.
And I mean, yeah, we had a lot of fun. And one of my buddies got super messed up one of the days, and he was wearing like a pink ski mask, and he was wearing like these Daisy Duke jean cutoff shorts, and like we all just dressed up one day and rented out a bar and like just fucked around and drank or whatever. And he like passed out, so we took Sharpies and drew all over him, all over his body, and like he's wearing a ski mask and whatever. So the rest of that goes on the rest of the day, and we're just like drinking or whatever, and there was these girls that showed up at the bar afterwards, and the girl walks over and she's like pretty drunk too, and she's talking to him. She's like, "Oh my god, like you're so funny." And he's like this Aussie guy. He's like, "Oh yeah, fuck yeah, I know." And he's like, "Yeah." She's like, "Oh my god, you're so funny. We're like, all your writing, are these real tattoos?" And he's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" No, and he looks at him. He's like, "Oh my gosh." So he walks over to the bar and he's like, "Let me get 10 beers." And so like the bar it was an open bar because we like rented out the bar. So he takes the beers and he's like, "Who threw up on me?" Or who drew on me?
Yeah.
And so he's like, "Oh, everybody raise their hand or whatever." And he like walks over to them. He's like, "Here, I bought you a beer." And he like throws the beer in everybody's face. That
No way.
And then like scuffles started happening. We're like fucking with each other or whatever. It was funny. And then I'll never forget it. Like the most memorable picture I have of that whole Vegas weekend was we stayed at the Wynn Hotel, and like the big ass like window that overlooks all Vegas. He's standing in front of it, butt ass naked, with like his dick and balls tucked between his legs, and he's like, oh. It was super funny. But
what do they call that? The movie Waiting? When you have to like, have you seen that movie Waiting?
With Ryan Reynolds?
Yeah, the restaurant one, you know, when they tuck it, that you have to like catch it.
What was that called? Oh man, that was funny. Yeah, that's super
what it
funny.
reminds me of.
But yeah, I mean, there's other ones where like.
Did he end up talking to that chick, or he's like, "No, I'm gonna just go throw a beer"?
Yeah, he was like, "Get out of my face! I don't want to talk to you anymore."
You said there was a scuffle where people like angry, or
we're just like, not like actually mad, but just like, what the fuck? Like, you just threw a beer in my face.
Dude, I got Sharpied on back in high school one time when I was
It's the worst.
It sucks,
it's the worst.
My mom was so mad, just sitting there like scrubbing it off my face and shit.
Yeah, that shit sucks. I fortunately I've never been Sharpied because I know just don't pass out at a party because that's what's gonna happen. But I mean, there's
live and learn.
There's so many stories, man. So many memories. Like just rugby players, we like to party. Get a little wild sometimes, but
it's part of the culture, right?
Yeah.
South Africa, Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, even LA. I think athletes too, when you're living that lifestyle, NBA players get in trouble with it. And when you get to that level, they have like rules and regulations of what your conduct could be
100%.
like outside. Do you guys have something similar to that?
If anything is like publicly noted, obviously all this stuff was kind of private, you know, like rented out a bar. It was just people we knew. But like say like on a Saturday after a game, we have a home game, we go out after to like bars or something like that, and we get in trouble or like
Someone gets arrested.
then yeah, obviously there'll be serious complications.
Gnarly. So now that you're a pro athlete, like, is there a feeling of making, I know you've only been with the team for so long, but has there been a moment where you've been laying there even pre or post injury and you're just thinking like, holy fuck, I'm getting paid and doing what I love and I'm not working right now, not working at least for a typical job.
Yeah.
Like, how does it feel?
There was a pretty emotional moment that happened when I got picked up to play for the USA team. Like, and I think this is something that all athletes can relate to in the sense of like representing your country and like going off and trying to make not only your country proud and perform well for them, but like your family and your loved ones and yourself, you know? So when I got went in for a meeting and I got the talk from my coach, they're like, hey, like, we're going to sign you and you're going to come play for the USA team and represent your country. It was like pretty emotional. I like told my grandpa when I was growing up a long time ago, me and him had a talk, and I promised him that one day, like, I'm going to get to the highest level that I can do with this, and I'm going to do that for my family and for everybody I love and care about. And so when I finally achieved that, it was emotional. Like, I called him right after. He was the first person I called and told him, and got a little bit emotional, a little teary-eyed, and it's just a very proud moment, not only for myself, or like for my family, because I wanted to make my family proud. Obviously, my family means the most to me in the whole world. So it was probably one of the best moments of my life. And then, yeah.
Representing the USA.
Yeah.
It's like you're representing yourself. You have your family that you're trying to make proud. And then now you're on the USA team representing the country at large.
Yeah.
It's gotta be an incredible feeling. It's,
man. It's unreal.
Well,
I mean, it's kind of one of those like surreal moments. You're like, fuck, like, let me pinch myself. I'm not dreaming? So
the injury, worth it. You're like, I'll be back. Gonna come back stronger.
I mean, minor setback to a major comeback, you know?
Fuck yeah, I like
that. That's a mindset right now.
I like that. Well, I have no doubt that you'll come back, and I want to have you back on when you've traveled to even more countries, and
I'd love to.
I would love to see rugby grow as well. Because before we sign off, I was thinking the difference with sports, like, is a sport so attractive in itself to where just through luck people end up building it, like more word of mouth and less marketing. Because then rugby, it's not nearly as big as some of these other sports that we have here in the States, but here you are, a USA, like, representing the team, traveling the world. I would love to see more sports grow and become bigger in the U.S. just because it's good. It's good for the youth, whether it's men
100%.
or women. It gives you something to strive for. And tying it back to, is it something that we need to fund to help get more eyeballs on it to show what rugby can do?
Yeah.
Or is it something that now that we're talking about it and it seems like it's growing kind of bigger on its own without too much investment, that people are just going to catch wind of it? If you have high schools and education kind of incentivizing athletes to get into the sport now too.
Yeah.
It's just because, I mean, there's so many sports out there, and rugby, people know of it, but they don't know a lot about it, and a lot of people choose not to go into it.
Yeah. I think if something that I've known is like just talking to like family friends about it. I've gotten them come out to games, and like for me at least, it's a little easy because I like give them tickets. They can come out, experience it for themselves, and then after that, it's like word of mouth, you know, like they tell their friends, and then they come to the games, and then they come to the games, and then their kids that they bring see it and get inspired by it or get intrigued and like, oh, hey, maybe I want to try this out, you know? And like my mom's brother, I've been playing rugby my whole life, got involved in it at a young age. Now that I'm playing at this professional level, I talked to my little cousins about it, and they were like, oh, wait, we want to try it. So then they went out and they tried it, and now they play rugby and like they also play soccer, but they play rugby as well. So I feel like probably the biggest way we could do it is like word of mouth. Just get people involved, like let people know about what rugby is about, and let them know that if you guys want to try it, like there are teams everywhere. Like you'd be surprised how many youth programs are just in like a 25, like 30-mile radius of where we're at right now.
No way.
There's so many.
Yeah, I wanted to ask if there's a young lad out there who wants to get into the sport, what would you recommend? Just look up that local league and
just look up youth rugby near me or something like that. There's so many clubs out there that people just have to look up and find. And once you find it, you get involved in it and see where it takes you.
And I imagine it's maybe even more affordable than regular football.
100%.
The lack of equipment.
100%.
That shit's expensive.
Yeah. Fuck yeah, that's expensive, dude. I mean, you don't have to pay for any equipment. All you need to buy is mouth guard and cleats. That's all you need, man. And trust me, you want a mouth guard because you don't want to get all your teeth knocked out like I did. It sucks.
You did?
Yeah, I've had these teeth replaced like 6 times.
From not wearing a mouth guard?
Yeah.
Jesus,
wear a mouth guard, kids, and stay in school and don't do drugs. But yeah, man, just look it up. Look it up and find a club near you, like youth rugby club near me, and go play.
Well, it's amazing, man, because you're living proof of like dedication, going through ups and downs too, whether it's like, oh, college isn't for me, I'm going to get standard corporate job and work it, and you've ended up where you are.
Yeah.
And I think the world, and especially the U.S. right now, could use some more opportunity for competition, for structure, for brotherhood or sisterhood. And are there female leagues?
Yeah. 100%.
Okay, so there's female leagues too.
There's actually a USA women's team too that does really, really well.
Badass.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And it's just another thing that kids can get into to teach them structure and discipline. And I'm about it, man. Thanks for teaching me more about rugby, and I hope some of you guys learn some stuff too.
Yeah.
And you'll have to come back when you've traveled the world. We'll stick. We'll catch up because I want to see how your healing's gonna go too.
Yeah, me too.
What was the line you said about the injury, but you're gonna come back?
Oh, minor setback to a major comeback.
Let's fucking end it there.
Yeah, hell yeah.
All right, you guys. With that being said, talking goes a long way. I appreciate you coming on, brother.
No problem. Thank you.
you.